He just it's just not in his nature. He's a biker. He rides a road bike. I ride a road bike. He's into exercise. He isn't carrying any extra weight. He looks good. He feels good. And he has given a speech today, which is speech number 9 from the Competent Communication Manual. It's 5 to 7 minutes. He is looking to persuade you with power. The title is, When You Make Excuses for Others, You Invite Them Not to Change. When you make excuses for others, you invite them not to change. I give you Jeff Lindow. Jeff.
When you make excuses for others, you invite them not to change. When you make excuses for others, you invite them not to change. Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, who do you make excuses for? Do you make excuses for yourself? Do you make excuses for the people in your life? Do you make excuses for social agenda or institutions that aren't in alignment with your ideals, yet you don't take any action about them? This morning, I'll share with you some excuses that I made for myself that prevented me from making changes, and I'll also make it a little bit global as well. One of the things that I shared with this group a couple of times, I made an excuse for myself that it was okay to be late to appointments. Don't know where I came up with it, but it was okay to be late. Just a couple minutes. Well, you don't understand. See, I have a dog, and when I was leaving for my appointment, he had to go potty. Hey, I'm in sales. I got a phone call. I had to speak to my client. That's why I was late. And I can make more and more excuses. But it wasn't until I took responsibility and that I stopped making those excuses and that it wasn't okay to be late. It wasn't until I did that, until I made the change and changed my behavior pattern. And now it's more common for me to be early or on time than to be late. Another excuse I made. Every so often, I would use curse words. Well, everybody uses bleeping curse words, right, Ralph? Everybody does it. I only do it a little bit. I don't do it that much. It's okay, everybody does it. I didn't want to do that anymore. I don't know why, I just didn't want to do that anymore. And I wanted to get those words out of my vocabulary. And I knew that it took 21 days to change a habit. I've read that many different times. I created a 21-day challenge. And it didn't take 21 days, it took a lot longer. But finally, it was ingrained, it was a habit. But finally, I was able to make that change. And I took those words out of my vocabulary. Well, what about on a little bit more global scale? Maybe now you can see how we make excuses for ourselves or maybe for some other people in our lives. What about on a global scale? Some causes that might be near and dear to your heart. Like for me, when the Japanese government sponsors killing whales in an internationally defined sanctuary. Well, Jeff, it's in Antarctica. What can I do about it? Well, hey, Japanese government, they're big trading partners of ours. We don't want to ruffle any feathers. When you make excuses for others, you invite them not to change. Monsanto, Cargill, other big seed companies, they're making genetically modified food sources now. And not only that, they don't want to have to let us know about it. They don't want to label it. Well, Monsanto's a big company. What can we do about it? I'm a little guy. What can I do? Well, Jeff, we all know that the government's run by big business. What are we going to do about it? When you make excuses for others, you invite them not to change. What about unsustainable fishing practices, taking fish out of the ocean quicker than they can reproduce? Jeff, it's a big ocean, it's a big planet, what can I do about these unsustainable fishing practices? Oh, we need a source of protein, we have to go fish anyway. What about when commercial fishermen take a shark on board by accident, and instead of putting it back in the ocean, they cut its fins off first and put it back in the ocean to drown? What can we do about it? It's a big ocean. We have to fish anyway. What can we do about it? When you make excuses for others, you invite them not to change. Have any of these three causes resonated with you? If so, do you take action and try to do something about it? Or do you make excuses and invite them not to change? What if these causes don't resonate with you? What if it's something else? What if it's a local food bank? What if it's women's rights? What if it's education? For something like this, please keep in mind that when you make excuses for others, you invite them not to change. World-famous anthropologist Margaret Mead sums up something that I believe in very strongly and sums up my thoughts for this morning. Never doubt that a small group of committed, concerned citizens and thoughtful citizens can change the world. Indeed, it is the only thing that ever has. Mr. Toastmaster.
Let's take a minute and evaluate Jeff's speech.